my subject is going to be electrolysis. Lysis meaning to split, and electro meaning electricity. So to split using electricity. Okay, now as we're all in lockdown and we don't have much to do, I thought it'd be a great little quest to go around and collect some elements. One of the things I have in my kitchen is sodium chloride, salt that we have in fish and chips, and that is NaCl. Okay, now with sodium chloride, this is called a compound. Okay, now a metal bonded to a non-metal is called an ionic compound. Okay, so our sodium here is a metal, our chlorine here is a non-metal, so they're an ionic compound, bonded ionically. Now, how can I split our sodium from our chlorine so that I can have sodium on its own and chlorine on its own? Well, here's the thing. I can't just chop it into small pieces because that's not going to work. I can't dissolve it and filter it. I can't evaporate anything. That won't do it. So what are we going to do over here? So let's see if I can get my pen over here. Yes, new page. So what I'm going to do now, for electrolysis to work, I need to dissolve my sodium chloride into a beaker of water. Okay, so I'm going to get a beaker of water up, and I'm going to plop in my sodium chloride, and what this does is then the ions in the solution, they become a bit free. They can move around a bit. Okay, so we have our sodium chloride in a solution, and you'll notice the sodium is positive and the chlorine is negative, and we call this solution a electrolyte. It's kind of interesting doing this and learning how this piece of kit works at the same time. Okay, so we have an electrolyte here. What else we need is a bit of kit to create a circuit, because we're going to be passing through an electric current through this solution of our electrolyte. So our bit of kit consists of 2 electrodes made from graphite, because graphite is unreactive, and we want pure sodium and pure chlorine, and they're going to be attached by a battery. Okay, so here's our battery here. So our power source. Here are our electrodes. Now we have a positive electrode and a negative electrode, because what's going to happen is once we dip this in to our solution of electrolyte, we're going to create a circuit and current's going to flow. So current's going to flow around because our electrolyte, our sodium chloride in water, completes the circuit. So the positive electrode is called the anode. Okay, and the negative electrode is called the cathode. Anode, cathode. Now, what's going to happen is, as the current moves through, we can have the different charges, the positive and the negative charges, appear on each of the electrodes, and our chlorine ions are going to be attracted to the anode, the positive electrode, and our sodium ions are going to be attracted to the cathode, the negative electrode. Okay, so what's going to happen at each of these electrodes? There we go. Right, so let's draw out our circuit again. So our electrolyte here, our batteries here, got the positive and the negative, so the anode, cathode. Now our chlorine ions are going to go into the anode, be attracted to the anode, and our sodium ions are going to be attracted to the cathode. Now, something to remember at this point, this is not chlorine and this is not sodium. These are the ions of the element, of the compound, sorry, the ions here. Now what's going to happen is, as the sodium gets attracted to the cathode, it will gain an electron. And as it gains an electron, sodium will be produced. Because at the moment, sodium, the ion sodium, Na+, is positive, okay? But it's going to gain an electron here, thus creating the element sodium. Chlorine is going to do the exact opposite. So chlorine is negative and it's going to lose an electron. And it's going to form chlorine. Okay? And we'll see chlorine as bubbles of gas that are going to escape around this electrode here, the anode. Okay, now something to remember is oil rig. Okay, I remember this one from my school days. Oxidation is loss, yeah, loss of electrons. Reduction is gain of electrons. Okay, so our sodium ions have gained an electron at the cathode, okay, and they're now sodium. And our chlorine ions have lost an electron, so have been oxidized. Okay, so chlorine, so we have oxidation here, and we have reduction here.